Chapter 353. Grandpa, given Lu Ming's talent, joining the DT Divine Guards is the best choice. He will be able to unleash his talent to his heart's content and achieve greater success. Moreover, this is the only way to save the Mystic Essence Sword Sect and ensure your safety. Mulan said. But you? That's too unfair. Yan Lan said worriedly. Grandfather, don't you believe in Lu Ming? I believe in him. As long as he joins the Empyrean Divine Guards, he can truly return me my freedom. Speaking until here, Mulan's eyes shone with a certain light. That was the light of her belief in Lu Ming. It's difficult. Although Lu Ming is extremely talented, that's only in the Blazing Sun Empire. If he were to join the Empyrean Divine Guards, he would be very ordinary. It's difficult to achieve that. Yan Lan sighed repeatedly. Grandfather, I believe in my judgment. Please rest assured that nothing will happen to me. Grandfather, I'll go now. After saying that, Mulan bowed to Yan Lan and then floated away, disappearing from the Vermilion Bird Courtyard. Lu Ming naturally knew nothing about this. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. In 7 days, Lu Ming had refined more than 500 level 4 spiritual herbs and cultivated his physical body to the perfect level 5 physical body. However, at this stage, no matter how many spiritual herbs Lu Ming refined, his physical body could not break through. It was completely stuck at the perfect level 5 physical body. It seems that level 4 spiritual herbs are too low level. They can't help my physical body break through to level 6. Lu Ming thought to himself, could it be that I need level 5 spiritual herbs or other level 5 treasures? Thinking of this, Lu Ming shook his head and smiled bitterly. Level 5 spiritual herbs or other level 5 treasures were equivalent to kings. They were treasures that even kings could use. How precious would they be? They could only be found by chance. Let's put aside the physical body for now. Perfect level 5 physical body is enough for now. Even among half-step kings, there are not many who have level 5 physical body. Many martial artists who didn't focus on cultivating their physical body couldn't even reach the 5th grade after reaching the half-step king realm. Only after entering the martial king realm and going through the transformation of the power of heaven and earth and the unique true origin of martial kings could one's physical body reach the 5th grade. In other words, Lu Ming's current physical body was no longer inferior to those martial kings who did not specially cultivate their physical bodies. Of course, that was only his physical body. His battle prowess was still worlds apart from that of a martial king. After that, Lu Ming began to comprehend the 9 dragons ascending heaven steps. The 9 dragons heaven-treading steps in the last palm of the 3 Dao palms, the heaven's path palm, were the martial skills that Lu Ming cultivated every day. However, these 2 martial skills were too difficult to cultivate. Until now, Lu Ming had yet to successfully cultivate the 2nd step of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. As for the heaven's path palm, he was completely clueless about it. In the blink of an eye, another 5 days had passed. There were only a few days left before the preliminaries for the DT Divine Guards would begin. On this day, Mulan came to look for Lu Ming. Senior Sister Mulan, I heard that you went out during this period of time? Upon seeing Mulan, Lu Ming asked with a smile. Yes. Mulan replied with a low hum. Looking at Lu Ming, she seemed to be deep in thought. Senior Sister Mulan seems to have something on her mind. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. However, since Mulan did not say anything, he did not ask. After a while, Lu Ming's palm glowed. Suddenly, a golden piece of paper appeared. This is the invitation letter for the DT Divine Guard selection? Lu Ming's eyes lit up, and he could not help but blurt out. Mulan nodded. Then, she opened the invitation letter and revealed the words inside. Scorching Sun Empire, Lu Ming. There were 6 big golden words on the invitation letter. How could it be me? Lu Ming's eyes narrowed as he exclaimed in disbelief. At first, Lu Ming thought that Mulan had taken out an invitation letter from someone else, such as Feng Wuji or Ling Yanqi. He had never expected that his name would be on the invitation letter. Lu Ming, this is the invitation letter for the DT Divine Guard selection. Take it. I hope that you can surpass Zhou Changkong and successfully join the DT Divine Guards. At this moment, Mulan revealed a faint smile. Senior Sister Mullins, where did you get this invitation letter from? Lu Ming asked. He was extremely curious. The invitation letter from the DT Divine Palace could not be faked. This was because there were special inscriptions on it that were very easy to identify. No one would dare to fake it unless they were tired of living. Your senior apprentice sister is very resourceful. Naturally, I have my own methods. You don't have to worry about this. Take it and perform well. Mullins handed the invitation letter to Lu Ming and smiled. Lu Ming received it in a daze. Lu Ming, from today onwards, I might have to leave the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. Suddenly, Mullins let out a long sigh. What? Senior Sister Mullins, you want to leave the Mystic Essence Sword Sect? Are you going to train or? Lu Ming asked hurriedly. He felt that something was amiss. Neither. Mullins shook her head and looked at Lu Ming carefully. After a while, she said, Lu Ming, as long as you join the DT Divine Guards, we might be able to meet again. With that, Mullins suddenly went forward and hugged Lu Ming. Lu Ming was stunned. In the next moment, he felt 2 lumps of meat pressing against his chest. They were shockingly bouncy. Mullins's body fragrance wafted to his nose, causing Lu Ming's heart to beat rapidly. Mullins hugged Lu Ming tightly. After a long while, she suddenly let go of Lu Ming. Her face was flushed red. She glanced at Lu Ming and then turned to leave. Lu Ming, join the DT Divine Guards. I look forward to seeing you again. Her voice drifted over, but the beauty had already disappeared. Senior Sister Mullins. Lu Ming looked in the direction that Mullins left in a daze. He didn't come back to his senses for a long time. After a long while, Lu Ming finally came back to his senses. What exactly is going on? Why does Senior Sister Mullins have an invitation letter from the DT Divine Palace? Also, where is she going? Lu Ming's heart was filled with doubts. Swoosh! Lu Ming moved and appeared in the air. He looked into the distance and realized that Mullins had already left. He didn't know where she went. Dean, yes, let's ask the Dean. Lu Ming thought of Yin Lan. Yin Lan was Mulan's grandfather. He should know the inside story. After a while, Lu Ming found Yin Lan in the Vermilion Bird courtyard. After not seeing him for a while, Yin Lan seemed to have aged quite a bit. Lu Ming's heart tightened as he felt that something was wrong. Lu Ming, have a seat. Yin Lan invited Lu Ming to sit down and poured a cup of tea for Lu Ming. I knew that you would look for me. You want to ask about Lan, right? Yin Lan said. That's right. Lu Ming nodded and immediately asked him about his doubts. Yin Lan was silent as if he was deep in his memories. After a while, he sighed. Lu Ming, I'll tell you everything. Lan, that girl, is stubborn and refuses to say anything. Lu Ming, you know that I am Lan-er's grandfather, but you have never seen Lan-er's parents, right? Yin Lan said. Lu Ming was stunned and shook his head. He had indeed never seen Mullins' parents and had never heard Mullins mention them. Lan-er's mother passed away long ago. Lan-er's father is an important figure in the DT Divine Palace. Chapter 354. What? Lu Ming was dumbfounded and shocked. Mullins' father was actually a big shot in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. This was completely out of his expectations. Since Mullins' father was a big shot in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace, why would Mullins stay in the Mystic Essence Sword Sect and not cultivate in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace? The cultivation conditions in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace were definitely not something the Mystic Essence Sword Sect could compare with. As if he had seen through Lu Ming's thoughts, Yin Lan continued, Lan-er's father is a big shot in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. He is extremely domineering and arbitrary. Before Lan-er turned 15, she had always been in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. However, her father kept her in check. Later on, without Lan-er's consent, he arranged a marriage for her. The marriage partner was a peerless genius in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. However, Lan-er did not like him at all. Hence, she ran out of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace in a fit of anger and came to my place. Yin Lan's answer dispelled many of Lu Ming's doubts. Lu Ming understood. His invitation letter must have been obtained by Mullins after she returned to the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. This also made Lu Ming even more worried. He said, "Did senior sister Mulan's return to the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace this time? Wouldn't she have to face the marriage?" He did not know why, but when he thought of Mulan's getting married to someone else, he felt uncomfortable in his heart. That's right. In order to get that invitation letter, Lan had already promised her father to stay in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. Now, the only person who can save her and prevent her from getting married to someone she doesn't like is you. Yen Lan said. Me? Lu Ming was stunned. That's right. Lan had once made an agreement with her father. Lan said that the person she liked would definitely be stronger than the genius in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. Sooner or later, she would bring the person she liked to the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace to defeat that genius and cancel the marriage. This person is you. Yen Lan looked at Lu Ming with bright eyes. Me? I. Lu Ming's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. The person Mulan's liked? Him? Lu Ming's little heart immediately started beating rapidly. He thought of the various things that happened when Mulan's left. Lu Ming took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He said firmly, "Dean, don't worry. I will definitely join the Dtion Divine Guards, defeat that genius, and return senior sister Mulan's freedom." That genius. Only. Martial King. Lu Ming's pupil shrank sharply. Now. Lu Ming was 18 years old. He was almost 19 years old. However, Lu Ming did not have the slightest confidence that he could break through the Martial King realm at the age of 21. He was indeed a peerless and terrifying genius. Compared to him, the geniuses of the Blazing Sun Empire. No, even the geniuses on the Emperor leaderboard were a pile of trash. After a while, Lu Ming's eyes exploded with a strong fighting spirit and an unwavering will. He said, "Dean, don't worry. No matter how strong he is, I will defeat him sooner or later and set Senior Mulan's free." All right, Lan believes in you. I also believe in you. However, Lu Ming, with your current cultivation and combat strength, it will be very difficult for you to join the Dtion Divine Guards. I hope you can make another breakthrough. Yen Lan's eyes seemed to have a glimmer of hope. After that, Lu Ming chatted with Yen Lan for a while. Then, he took his leave. A day later, the news that Lu Ming had received an invitation to join the Dtion Divine Guards spread among the upper echelons of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect and the Crimson Cloud Valley. This shocked those who knew about it, but it was soon followed by ecstasy. Although they were curious about how Lu Ming had received the invitation, this was not the main point. The main point was that Lu Ming could participate in the Dtion Divine Guard selection, which gave them a glimmer of hope. At this time, the preliminaries of the 36 countries of Emperor Yun were getting closer and closer. It was time to depart. Lu Ming bid farewell to Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. As for Qiuyu, she said that she had not seen Lu Yuntian and Li Ping for a long time and wanted to stay by their side to take care of them. Lu Ming naturally agreed. As for Xian Yanqing, he wanted to go with Lu Ming. His reason was to see the geniuses of the 36 countries of Emperor Yun. 2 days later, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Feng Wuji, and Ling Yinqi left the Mystic Essence Sword Sect and headed west. Lu Ming did not bring the golden-eyed blood zombie or Yin Quan. Now was the time of the war. The golden-eyed blood zombie and Yin Quan were important battle forces. If they left, it would be disadvantageous for the war. Moreover, Lu Ming intended to leave the golden-eyed blood zombie behind to protect Lu Yuntian and Li Ping. The Cloud Desolate Empire was one of the 8 mid-sized empires of the Cloud Emperor mountain range. However, it was strong and ranked first among the 8. Therefore, the preliminaries of the Cloud Emperor mountain range were held in the imperial capital of the Cloud Desolate Empire. From the Mystic Essence Sword Sect, they had to pass through 8 empires. It was a journey of more than 700,000 miles. It was a very long journey. However, with everyone's cultivation, if they flew at full speed, it was still quite easy for them to fly 10,000 miles in an hour. Including the rest time, they used 5 days to reach the imperial capital of the Cloud Desolate Empire. The Cloud Desolate Empire was indeed the strongest empire of the 36 countries of Emperor Yun. Just the imperial capital alone was more than 10 times bigger than the imperial capital of the Scorching Sun Empire. It was majestic and vast, with no end in sight. On the city walls, rows of armored soldiers were patrolling. Lu Ming glanced at them, and his eyes narrowed. These armored soldiers were all martial grandmasters. Each of them had a powerful aura, and their eyes were penetrating. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. The strength of the #1 empire of the Cloud Emperor mountain range was truly astonishing. Walking through the city gate, it was incomparably spacious. The street was 200 meters wide. On the street, there were all kinds of beast roars. Many people were riding on various mounts and strolling on the street. Lu Ming even saw a martial artist riding a giant python that was more than 30 meters long and as thick as a water tank, strolling on the streets. On both sides of the street, there were many shops. Some of the spiritual weapon shops were shining with treasure. Some of the spiritual medicine shops were filled with medicinal fragrance. Lu Ming and the others walked and looked, exclaiming in admiration. Along the way, they could see young warriors walking by from time to time. They were all dignified and had extraordinary auras. One look, and one could tell that they were dragons and phoenixes among men. They were probably here to participate in the preliminaries. Brother Lu, Brother Feng, Miss Ye, let's find a place to eat. We have been rushing for the past few days and haven't had a good meal. Our mouths are almost dry. Ling Yinchi rubbed his stomach and grinned. All right. Lu Ming nodded. The few of them walked for a while and arrived in front of a restaurant. Drunken Pleasure Restaurant was the name of this restaurant. It was 7 stories tall and covered an area of 10 acres. It was incomparably spacious. Guests, please come in. Chapter 355. The 4 of them followed the waiter to the 5th floor of the restaurant. The 5th floor was very spacious. On one side, there were private rooms, and on the other side, there was a hall. They did not order a private room. Instead, they found a seat by the window and sat down. From this position, they could see a lake by the window. The surface of the lake was clear like a mirror. When the breeze blew, it was very comfortable. Waiter, what's good to eat? Bring it to me. Also, give me 4 jars of good wine. Ling Yinchi shouted. Okay, the waiter answered. He was very fast. Soon, a table of dishes was served. The 4 of them ate while listening to other people's conversations in the restaurant. It's so lively recently. The geniuses can't sit still anymore. There are always fights. That's right. I've seen the fights on the Emperor Yun board several times. Their cultivation is really shocking. The ordinary geniuses on the Emperor Yun board are not that bad, especially those who are ranked at the top. Half a month ago, Ji Rufeng, the genius ranked 7th on the Emperor Yun board, killed 3 experts of the advanced stage of Martial Ancestor Realm with 1 strike at Tianyuan Peak. That's terrifying. That's nothing. I heard that 10 days ago, a sect offended young Master Tianxi, Wei Tianxi, who was ranked 2nd on the Emperor Yun board. Wei Tianxi went to the sect and killed the whole sect. That sect had several experts of the 9th stage of Martial Ancestor Realm. What? How could that happen? Wei Tianxi is too terrifying. Lu Ming and the other 3 heard the discussions around them. Feng Wuji and Ling Yinchi were shocked. There was a grave expression in Lu Ming's eyes. Lu Ming could not kill 3 martial artists of the advanced stage of Martial Ancestor Realm with 1 strike, let alone kill a sect with several experts of the 9th stage of Martial Ancestor Realm. The geniuses ranked at the top of the Emperor Yun board were indeed amazing. Also, young Master Huoling recently appeared. He defeated Yuan Jifei, who is ranked 15th on the Emperor Yun board. He is the strongest dark horse. That's right. He is the strongest among the rising stars. Have you forgotten? There is another person who is also a dark horse. Oh? Who is it? Qiu Wuyang. This person was born in the small burning sun empire, but he rose to power. He was ranked 36th on the Emperor Cloud leaderboard, and recently, he killed the 22nd genius on the Emperor Cloud leaderboard. I heard that 5 days ago, Qian Jun, who was ranked 11th on the Emperor Cloud leaderboard, was defeated by him. What? Qian Jun actually lost to Qiu Changkong? Qiu Changkong is so terrifying. He's going to rush into the top 10. In the Cloud Emperor mountain range, the young people of this generation are indeed strong. I wonder if they can compete with the geniuses from the other regions. Xiao Changkong has become so strong. Feng Wuji muttered when he heard this, and his eyes were filled with shock and fear. We are all part of the 6 heroes of the burning sun, but the gap between us and him is too great. Ling Yinchi sighed, also very solemn. The stronger Qiu Changkong was, the more disadvantageous it would be for them. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He didn't say anything and just drank his wine. Xian Yinqing curled his lips slightly, as if he was disdainful. Next, the 4 of them ate while listening. Creak. At this moment, the door of a private room on the other side opened and 4 young men walked out. These 4 young men were wearing blue robes with a sky blue long saber embroidered on them. They are from the Blue Saber family of the Cloud Desolate Empire. Could the person in the private room be a big shot from the Blue Saber family? I know who he is. It's the second son of the Blue Saber family, Blue Cloud Fei. I saw him going just now. Seeing the 4 young men in blue robes, the surrounding people started to discuss. However, their voices were very low, as if they were afraid of them. The 4 young men from the Blue Saber family walked towards Lu Ming and the other 3. When they arrived beside the 4, one of the young men in blue robes cupped his fists and said, "May I know where the 4 of you are from?" Although he cupped his fists, his tone was arrogant, as if he was giving an order. Lu Ming frowned slightly. He didn't like the other party's attitude. "We are from the Burning Sun Empire." Feng Wuji obviously didn't want to offend them, so he stood up and cupped his fists. Burning Sun Empire? When the 4 young men in blue robes heard this, their eyes were filled with disdain. "So you are from the Burning Sun Empire, that god-forsaken place. All right, I won't talk nonsense with you. My second young master is inviting a friend here for a banquet. This girl looks pretty good, so he wants to invite her over to drink with him. All right, follow me." One of the young men in blue robes said with disdain. He then looked at Xian Yinqing and ordered. So they were here because they had their eyes on Xian Yinqing. Lu Ming frowned again, while Feng Wuji and Ling Yinqi looked anxious. Xian Yinqing's eyes were filled with cold-killing intent. He casually glanced at the 4 young men in blue robes and said indifferently, "What kind of dog is your second young master? Is he worthy of me drinking with him?" When he said this, the 4 young men in blue robes' faces changed. The other people in the restaurant were also shocked. It's over. A mere girl from the Burning Sun Empire dares to call Blue Cloud a dog. She's doomed. She's doomed. The Burning Sun Empire is too small. Other than Qiu Changkong, there are no other geniuses. Even her knowledge is so shallow. She even dares to offend the Blue Blade family. The other people in the restaurant lowered their voices and discussed softly, as if they were afraid of being heard by the Blue Blade family. "Bitch, what did you just say?" One of the young men in blue robes pointed at Xie Nianqing and roared. "What did you call me? Slap yourselves, 100 slaps each. Otherwise, I'll break your legs." Xian Yinqing glanced at them and said coldly. The others were shocked. Crazy, too crazy. The Blue Blade family was crazy, but Xian Yinqing was even crazier than them. Sigh. It's over. This little girl has the temper of a princess. I think she is a rare genius in the Scorching Sun Empire and is used to being arrogant. But this is not the Scorching Sun Empire, but the Cloud Wilderness Empire, where the geniuses of the 36 countries of the Cloud Wilderness gather. In the restaurant, someone shook his head and sighed. "What did you say? Break our legs? Ha ha ha, what a joke. A mere trash from the Burning Sun Empire dares to say that she wants to break our legs. What a joke." The 4 young men in blue robes sneered. "Bitch, I originally wanted you to drink with us. Now, not only do you have to drink with us, you have to sleep with us. Get over there." One of the young men in blue robes clawed at Xian Yinqing's hair. His claw contained powerful true qi. This young man in blue robes was actually a martial ancestor Realm 3 expert. Feng Wuji and Ling Yinqi's faces changed as they shouted, "Be careful." Bam! In the next moment, a figure flew out. It was the young man in blue robes. He flew for more than 10 meters and crashed into a few tables and chairs. He fell to the ground and screamed. Chapter 356. Everyone else was stunned. The blue-robed youth was definitely not weak. He was young and had already reached the 3rd rank martial ancestor realm. He was definitely an elite nurtured by the Blue Blade family, and his combat strength was not something an ordinary martial artist of the same rank could compare to. However, he could not even last one move from Xian Yinqing. Many people didn't even see when Xian Yinqing made his move. Only a small portion of the geniuses were able to see how Xian Yinqing attacked. Little bitch, how dare you hit someone from the Blue Blade family? You're courting death. Attack, attack together. Take down this bitch and torture him. Boom, boom, boom. The remaining 3 blue-robed youths roared, and a powerful aura exploded from their bodies. Each of them was a third-rank martial ancestor realm. When the 3 of them joined forces, their power was terrifying. Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi's faces changed, and they were about to help. However, Lu Ming smiled at them and told them not to worry. Slap them. At this moment, Xian Yinqing shouted coldly. He waved his hands and black lotuses appeared. Then, the black petals were like divine blades, and they destroyed the attacks of the 3 youths. Shush! Xian Yinqing moved and appeared in front of the 3 youths. He slapped them. Slap, slap, slap. 3 loud slaps were heard, and the 3 blue-robed youths were sent flying. Shush, shush. Before the 3 youths landed on the ground, Xian Yinqing waved his hand, and the lotus petals flew towards the legs of the 3 blue-robed youths. Stop! A furious roar came from the private room. However, Xian Yinqing did not bother, and the black petals did not stop. Poof! Poof! The black petals landed on the legs of the 3 blue-robed youths. When the 3 blue-robed youths fell to the ground, their legs were covered in blood and wounds. Even their bones were exposed. SSS, SSS. Gasps could be heard from all around. What powerful combat strength and ruthless means. Since he said he would break their legs, he immediately broke their legs. Shush! At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. A blue figure rushed out from the box and appeared in the hall. The young man was about 23 or 24 years old. He wore a sky-blue tight-fitting robe, a blue jade belt around his waist, and a pair of blue gold boots. He was filled with a luxurious air. However, his expression was as gloomy as the winter. Blue Cloud Fei, it's really him. It's over. That woman is finished. Even her companions are dead for sure. They even dared to beat up the people of the Blue Blade family. Blue Cloud Fei will definitely not let this go. Although Blue Cloud Fei didn't enter the Cloud Emperor leaderboard, he is very close to it. I heard that he has already said that he will definitely enter the Cloud Emperor leaderboard this time. Except for the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard, there are only a few who can fight with Blue Cloud Fei. The other people in the restaurant looked at Xian Yinqing, including Lu Ming, as if they were looking at a dead man. I just asked you to stop. Didn't you hear me? Blue Cloud Fei looked coldly at Xian Yinqing. His eyes were filled with amazement. Previously, when he was in the box, he didn't have a good look. Now that he had a closer look, he realized that Xian Yinqing was even more stunning. His lust was instantly aroused. I heard you. But who are you? Do I have to follow your orders just because I heard you? Xian Yinqing looked at Blue Cloud Fei with disdain. Do you know the consequences of not following my orders? If I take action, you will either die or be severely injured. Lan Yunfei sneered and continued, however, I can let you go because you're a woman. How about this? I'll lock up the 3 of them first. As for you, you'll come back with me and serve me. If you serve me well, I'll consider letting you go. What do you think? This condition is already the biggest concession I can make. Blue Cloud Fei said. His eyes flashed with lust as he looked at Xian Yinqing. Xian Yinqing frowned. On the other hand, Lu Ming, Feng Wuji, and Ling Yanqi were dumbstruck. Is there something wrong with this guy? Didn't he see that there were 4 of them and only one of him? He even said that he would lock them up first and let Xian Yinqing go back and serve him. Wasn't he feeling too good about himself? Lu Ming had seen many people who felt good about themselves, but this guy in front of him was definitely the first. Brother Feng, Brother Ling, why am I so unlucky? Everywhere I go, I meet idiots. Even when I am having a meal, I can meet such a weird idiot. I am speechless. Lu Ming picked up a cup of wine and drank it in one gulp. He sighed. Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi looked at each other and didn't say anything. They weren't as brave as Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing. Lu Ming didn't lower his voice. It spread across the entire floor of the restaurant. There was dead silence at the scene. Everyone was staring at Lu Ming in a daze. Lu Ming dared to say that to Blue Cloud Fei? Why were the people of the Burning Sun Empire so arrogant? What a country bumpkin. He doesn't know how high the sky is. Many people thought. Kid, who are you talking about? Blue Cloud Fei screamed in anger. His face was twisted as he looked at Lu Ming eerily. I am talking about whoever answered me. Lu Ming continued to pick up his cup and replied indifferently. He then drank it in one gulp. Courting death, courting death. Now, I take back what I said. You are dead. Nothing can save you. Blue Cloud Fei roared in anger. A powerful aura exploded from his body. A sword radiance shot out and slashed at Lu Ming. I am your opponent. Xian Yinqing's eyes turned cold. He waved his hands, and a black lotus appeared in front of the sword radiance. Clang! The sword radiance hit the black lotus and sparks flew. The sword radiance was blocked. How dare you stop me? I will kill you too. Blue Cloud Fei was furious. His killing intent surged. His combat sword hummed and sharp sword chi slashed at Xian Yinqing. Peak Martial Ancestor Realm 4th Realm. Blue Cloud Fei's cultivation had reached the peak Martial Ancestor Realm 4th Realm. No wonder he was only second to the geniuses on the Emperor Yun board. The lower-ranked geniuses on the Emperor Yun board were only at the early stage of Martial Ancestor Realm 5th Realm. Who do you think you can kill? Xian Yinqing sneered, and a powerful aura exploded from his body. Late Martial Ancestor Realm 4th Realm. During this period of time, Xian Yinqing had made great progress. His rank 7 Imperial bloodline was fully utilized. Heavenly Demon's Great Palm Print. Xian Yinqing waved his hands and palm prints blasted out toward Blue Cloud Fei. Xian Yinqing's martial skill was unknown. When she was in the Martial Grand Master realm, she had used the same martial skill. Now that she was in the Martial Ancestor realm, she was using the same martial skill. Moreover, as Xian Yinqing's cultivation increased, the power of the martial skill became more terrifying. Boom, boom. In an instant, the palm prints and sword radiance clashed 8 times, and there were 8 explosions. Of course, the two of them had intentionally compressed their true chi in their moves and did not spread it out. Otherwise, the entire restaurant would have been blown up. No ordinary person could build such a big restaurant in the imperial capital of the Cloud Region Empire. If the restaurant was destroyed, it would be difficult to explain. After 8 moves, Blue Cloud Fei retreated 8 steps. He was at a disadvantage. Chapter 357. How could an unknown girl from the Burning Sun Empire suppress Blue Cloud Fei? How was this possible? If not for the fact, they would not have believed it. Go to hell. Lan Yunfei was enraged. His eyes emitted cold, killing intent as he roared. Blood light flashed and a sky-blue broadsword appeared. 2 silver chakras revolved around the broadsword. This was Blue Cloud Fei's bloodline, a level 2 king-class bloodline. Slash. Blue Cloud Fei's combat strength increased as his bloodline burst out. He slashed at Xian Yinqing. I don't want to play with you anymore. Xian Yinqing Fei's eyes turned cold. She raised her slender hand as if she was pinching a flower. At this moment, another slender hand appeared in the air. This jade-like hand wasn't real. It was at least 10 times larger than Xian Yinqing's hand. It was perfect and flawless, like the most perfect piece of art. Just like Xian Yinqing's hand, it was in the shape of a flower, filled with a devilish charm. Break! Xian Yinqing Fei shouted and flicked her finger. Bam! Blue Cloud Fei's broadsword radiance was shattered instantly. The finger force did not stop and shot at Blue Cloud Fei. Blue Cloud Fei's expression changed. It was too late for him to dodge. He could only block with his broadsword. With a loud bang, Blue Cloud Fei grunted and was pushed back dozens of meters. He crashed into a few tables before regaining his balance. Blood spurted out of his mouth. Sizzle! The sound of people sucking in cold breaths could be heard all around. Xian Yinqing Fei was too powerful. Blue Cloud Fei was no match for her even before she unleashed her bloodline. Since when did the Burning Sun Empire have such a powerful genius other than Qiu Changkong? Get down! Xian Yinqing Fei shouted again and pressed her palm down. That huge hand pressed down on Blue Cloud Fei at the same time. Blue Cloud roared and unleashed his full strength, slashing upwards with his saber. However, with a bang, the saber light was instantly shattered, and the palm continued to press down. Blue Cloud roared. Whoosh! At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air came from the staircase. A figure rushed up like lightning and arrived in front of Blue Cloud, throwing a punch upward. Boom! Waves of air swept out, and the fist force and the palm disappeared. At this time, everyone saw that there was another person in front of Blue Cloud. It's him? Yang Liuji. Blue Cloud Empire's Yang Liuji, ranked 33rd on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. Could he be the one that Blue Cloud Empire invited to this banquet? When they saw who it was, exclamations of surprise could be heard from the surroundings once again. It's actually him? Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Back in the ruins of Imperial Cloud Palace, Lu Ming had fought with Yang Liuji. In the end, Lu Ming defeated Yang Liuji with the help of the Golden Eye Blood Zombie. Xian Yinqing was also stunned as he recognized Yang Liuji. However, Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi's expressions changed drastically. The Burning Sun Empire and the Blood Zhao Empire were close to each other, so they had long heard of Yang Liuji's name. Brother Yang, you're finally here. Seeing Yang Liuji, Blue Cloud was overjoyed. Brother Lan, I'm sorry that I'm late, Yang Liuji said. Then, he looked around. When he saw Xian Yinqing and Lu Ming, he was stunned. Then, cold murderous intent shot out from his eyes. Little bastard, it's you? Haha, good. I've searched high and low for you, only to find you by chance. Since you've met me today, you won't be leaving. Yang Liuji revealed a sinister smile. When he came out from the ruins of Emperor Yun's palace, he had wanted the seniors of the Great Sun Empire to kill Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming had escaped too quickly. He had searched all around the ruins of Emperor Yun's palace, but could not find Lu Ming. During this period, he hated Lu Ming to the core. He did not expect to meet him here. He was so happy that he almost laughed out loud. What's wrong? You're looking for a beating again, aren't you? Lu Ming said indifferently. The surrounding people were stunned. Judging from Lu Ming's tone, Yang Liuji must have been defeated by Lu Ming before. It can't be, right? If that's the case, the Burning Sun Empire is too terrifying. Nonsense, little bastard. Back then, you only relied on an external force, a puppet. Now that your puppet is gone, I'll kill you in 3 moves. Yang Liuji shouted and corrected Lu Ming. The others suddenly realized that Lu Ming had relied on external forces. No wonder. If it wasn't his own strength, it would be useless. They let out a long sigh. If the Burning Sun Empire was so powerful, how could they endure it? Kill me in 3 moves? You alone? Aren't you afraid of laughing your head off? Lu Ming continued to speak indifferently. This nonchalant attitude caused Yang Liuji's anger to soar. You're courting death. Yang Liuji shouted angrily. His body emitted a scorching aura that made the restaurant seem like a furnace. Xian Yinqing moved and stood in front of Yang Liuji. Little Qing, you don't have to do anything to deal with him. Let me play with him. Lu Ming picked up a cup of wine and drank it in one gulp. Then, he stood up and walked toward Yang Liuji. Hurry up and finish him. We haven't finished our meal. Xian Yinqing glanced at Lu Ming before he sat back down at the table and ordered. His tone was casual, as if Lu Ming could easily deal with Yang Liuji. This caused the surrounding people to be stunned. Haha, I know you care about me. You are worried that the food won't taste good when it gets cold. Don't worry. Once I finish him, the food won't get cold. Lu Ming laughed. Everyone else's lips started to tremble. These 2 people were more confident than the other. They were still thinking about eating, and the dishes wouldn't even get cold. Come on, your opponent is Yang Liuji, a genius on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard, not a nobody on the street. Arrogant, too arrogant. Yang Liuji was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He felt a throbbing pain in his heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys. He took a few deep breaths and forced himself to calm down. It's useless to rely on your mouth. You will pay for your stupidity soon. Yang Liuji roared. The scorching aura on his body became more intense. He was like a sun and almost set the restaurant on fire. It's too narrow here. Let's go out and fight. Lu Ming said. Okay, that's what I want. Yang Liuji shouted angrily. The two of them moved and flew out of the window. They appeared in the sky above the small lake outside the window. At that moment, the people on the other floors of the restaurant were alerted. They looked out one by one. That's Yang Liuji. Yang Liuji is going to fight with someone. Who is the other person? Is he also a genius on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard? No, there is no such person on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. He is so young. He looks less than 20 years old. This person dares to fight with Yang Liuji. There will be a good show. The people on the other floors of the restaurant were discussing. Go to hell. As soon as Yang Liuji left the restaurant, he roared and the aura on his body exploded. Peak Martial Ancestor Realm 5th Realm. Apparently, Yang Liuji's cultivation had improved during this period of time. Back in the Cloud Emperor Palace, Yang Liuji's cultivation was only at the early stage of Martial Ancestor Realm 5th Realm. Boom! A powerful fire aura exploded and made Yang Liuji look like a small sun. He exuded a scorching aura and the lake below started to boil. Steam started to rise. Divine Sun Fist. Chapter 358. A fist radiance that was as bright as the sun shot towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw out a palm and a huge palm print appeared and collided with the fist radiance. After a loud explosion, the fist radiance and the palm print dissipated. One move. Lu Ming muttered. Didn't Yang Liuji say that he would kill him in 3 moves? Suemo calculated for him. Yang Liuji's face changed. Lu Ming was actually able to block one of his moves. His gaze turned grave. Divine Sun Fist, sky-shattering fist radiance. Yang Liuji roared again and threw out a punch. This punch was even more terrifying, and it was as bright as the sun. Yang Liuji, who had reached the peak of Martial Ancestor Realm 5, had terrifying combat strength. An ordinary martial artist who was at the peak of Martial Ancestor Realm 7 would only have such combat strength. Beast Dao Palm. Lu Ming threw out another palm. A huge beast claw appeared and grabbed at the fist radiance that was as bright as the sun. Poof! The fist force that was as bright as the sun was extinguished by the beast's claw like a pitiful little flame. 2 moves. Lu Ming said again. The spectators were stunned, especially the people on the 5th floor. They were even more shocked. Lu Ming was able to fight against Yang Liuji. This was unbelievable. The Blazing Sun Empire was too terrifying. Experts were emerging one after another. Damn it. Divine Sun Fist, burn the world. Yang Liuji roared angrily and used his strongest move. At the same time, his bloodline power exploded. His bloodline was also at level 2 king class. Splash! The lake water below churned and actually boiled. A shocking fist radiance came down from the top towards Lu Ming. Break! Lu Ming spoke softly. A long spear appeared in his hands. He dashed upward and thrust his spear. Poof! Poof! The long spear pierced through Yang Liuji's fist radiance and Lu Ming flew up into the sky. 3 moves, Yang Liuji. You said that you would kill me in 3 moves. You want to kill me with such a weak move? What a joke. Lu Ming said contemptuously. Damn it. Damn it. How did this little bastard become so strong? How is that possible? Yang Liuji roared in his heart as his expression turned ugly. He stared at Lu Ming and said coldly, I'll let you go today. We'll fight another day. After saying that, he wanted to leave. Another day? Did I say another day? You want to leave after fighting? How can there be such a good thing in this world? Stay here. Lu Ming said coldly. A terrifying aura enveloped Yang Liuji. What do you want? Do you still want to attack me? Audacious, I am a disciple of the Great Sun Abode. Do you understand? I am a disciple of the Great Sun Palace. Yang Liuji roared. You don't have to repeat yourself twice. You're a disciple of the Great Sun Constabulary. What does the Great Sun Constabulary have to do with me? I don't care where you're from. Lu Ming shouted loudly. His aura was wild as he fiercely pulled out his long spear. Boom! A spear light that was hundreds of meters long blasted towards Yang Liuji with the power of wind and fire. While the spear light was still in the air, the lake below was suppressed by the force. The lake water was separated into 2 sides, forming a waterless area that was hundreds of meters long. It was the same shape as the spear light. You! Yang Liuji roared and unleashed his full strength. He continuously punched the air, trying to block the spear light, but it was useless. The punches were like fireworks, dispersing in one hit. The spear light did not stop there and heavily smashed onto Yang Liuji's body. Yang Liuji's body was like a cannonball as he fell towards the lake. Boom! He crashed heavily into the lake, causing huge waves to rise to the sky. Even the ground shook as a whirlpool appeared on the lake. Everyone saw that Yang Liuji had created a deep hole at the bottom of the lake. The lake water poured out and drowned Yang Liuji. The spectators were all dumbfounded as they watched in a daze. This was too violent. Yang Liuji was defeated in one move, and Yang Liuji did not have the slightest ability to fight back. Especially the spectators on the 5th level. Their mouths were opened so wide that they could swallow a chicken. Crazy. The Burning Sun Empire is crazy. How can there be so many geniuses? Yeah, the Burning Sun Empire's national strength has always been ranked at the bottom. How can there be so many geniuses? What the hell? The spectators on the 5th level shouted in disbelief. Swoosh. At this moment, a figure rushed into the lake and in the next moment, rushed out again. It was Blue Cloud. He was carrying Yang Liuji in his arms. At this moment, Yang Liuji was covered in blood. His face was pale and blood kept dripping from his mouth. His eyes were filled with disbelief, shame, and anger. Previously, he had shamelessly said that he could kill Lu Ming in 3 moves. In the end, Lu Ming had easily taken 3 moves from him. Not only that, but he had also beaten him half to death with 1 move. This made him want to find a hole to hide in. If you don't have the strength, then keep a low profile. Don't always act like you're the best in the world. It's embarrassing. This time, I'll teach you a lesson. Get lost. Lu Ming waved his hand as if he was a senior lecturing a junior. You. Yang Liuji was enraged and he spat out another mouthful of blood. Lu Ming, don't be arrogant. You'd better not meet my big brother in the selection. Otherwise, you'll die a horrible death. Let's go. Blue Cloud Fei shouted angrily. Then, he rushed into the sky. Lu Ming smiled and did not take it to heart. With a flash, he returned to the restaurant. Come, let's continue eating. Lu Ming laughed and sat down to eat. The rest of the people in the restaurant were stunned. Brother Lu, we have to be careful of the big brother that Blue Cloud Fei mentioned. Feng Wuji said solemnly. That's right. The 5th genius on the Emperor Yun leaderboard also has the surname Blue Cloud. His name is Blue Cloud Dao. He's most likely Blue Cloud Fei's big brother. Ling Yinqi said solemnly. Although Lu Ming's combat strength was strong, they did not think that Lu Ming could be a match for the top geniuses on the Emperor Yun leaderboard. Those people were too strong. They were all demons. 5th on the Emperor Yun leaderboard? Lu Ming's eyes flashed and he smiled. He did not mind and continued eating. After a short while, the 4 of them left the restaurant and walked around for a while before they found an inn to stay in. There were still 3 days before the selection of the Emperor Tian Divine Guards. It was still early. At this moment, news of the battle between Xian Yinqing, Lu Ming, Blue Cloud Fei, and Yang Liuji spread quickly. Many people were shocked and they sighed. There were so many geniuses now. Another unknown genius had risen. In the room of the inn, Lu Ming sat with his legs crossed and thought about the previous battle. This was the first time that Lu Ming had fought with a genius on the Emperor Yun leaderboard. Although he looked confident, he did not dare to underestimate his opponent. Yang Liuji was only ranked 33rd on the Emperor Yun leaderboard. However, his cultivation had reached the peak of rank 5 martial ancestor realm, and his combat strength was comparable to an ordinary martial artist who was at the peak of rank 7 martial ancestor realm. In that case, how strong were the geniuses who were ranked at the top? Especially the geniuses who were ranked in the top 10. How strong were they? Lu Ming did not dare to underestimate his opponent. My biggest disadvantage now is that my cultivation is only at the peak of rank 4 martial ancestor realm. I have to find a way to break through as soon as possible, Lu Ming thought to himself. Chapter 359. Immediately, Lu Ming circulated the True Dragon battle art and started polishing his true qi. A day passed in the blink of an eye. On the evening of the second day, the people from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace actually found them. They sent an invitation letter to Xian Yinqing. It was the invitation letter for the selection of the Dtion Divine Guards. It seemed like the news of Xian Yinqing defeating Blue Cloud Fei yesterday had already reached the upper echelons of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Hence, they sent an invitation letter. With Xian Yinqing's combat strength, he was definitely qualified to receive an invitation letter. The next 2 days were peaceful. No one disturbed Lu Ming and the rest. In the blink of an eye, it was time for the preliminaries of the Emperor Heaven Divine Guards. The preliminaries of the Emperor Heaven Divine Guards were to select a group of elites from the 36 countries of the Cloud Emperor who had received an invitation letter. Only these people were qualified to participate in the selection of the Emperor Heaven Divine Guards. The gathering place for the preliminaries was in front of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's residence in the Cloud Desolate Royal Capital. Early in the morning, Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing, Feng Wuji, and Ling Yinqi headed towards the gathering place. The Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's residence in the Cloud Desolate Empire's royal capital was extremely majestic. It was even more majestic than the Cloud Desolate Empire's imperial palace. In front of the residence, there was a wide square. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, the square was already filled with people. Most of them were people who were here to watch the show. However, there were only a few people in the square. This was because there were people from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace guarding the square. Only the geniuses who were participating in the preliminaries could enter. If others were discovered, they would be killed without mercy. No one dared to take this risk. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, they headed straight for the square. Look, the geniuses who are participating in the preliminaries are here. 2 of them look very young. Which empire are they from? I don't know them. They are very unfamiliar. I know. I saw them a few days ago. The 2 young men and women are the ones who defeated Yang Liuji and Blue Cloud Fei 3 days ago. They are geniuses from the Scorching Sun Empire. As the crowd was discussing, someone suddenly shouted, "What? It's them. They're as young as the rumors say. I thought the rumors were exaggerated. I can't believe that the Burning Sun Empire has such a genius." In these few days, the names of Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing had already spread throughout the Cloud Desolate Royal Capital. Many people were very curious and looked at Lu Ming's group of 4. The 4 of them had also seen big scenes before. Their expressions didn't change. They walked to the square and stood at the side. "Looks like we came too early." Feng Wuji smiled and said, "It's a good opportunity to meet the other geniuses." Ling Yinqi's eyes were full of excitement. Time passed slowly, and more people arrived. Without a doubt, they were all young people under the age of 30. Most of them were in their 20s, and very few of them were under the age of 20. Look, that's Lu Xiaofeng, ranked 35th on the Cloud Emperor list. Suddenly, someone pointed at a yellow-robed youth and shouted, "And that's Wang Kai, ranked 26th on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. Gosh, that's Su Yingying, ranked 13th on the Cloud Emperor list. I've heard that Su Yingying is a beauty. She really lives up to her reputation." With the arrival of the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor list, the crowd was very excited. The 36 countries of the Cloud Emperor list were vast, and there were only 36 geniuses on the Cloud Emperor list. Usually, the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor list were scattered all over the place, and it was hard to see them. But now, there were so many of them and everyone was excited. Even Feng Wuji and Ling Yinqi looked at the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor list with sparkling eyes. Soon, there were more than 300 people in the square, and the number was still increasing. Lu Ming sighed. Those who received the invitation were at least geniuses like the 6 heroes of the Burning Sun Empire. But now, there were hundreds of them. Lu Ming suddenly felt a murderous intent shrouding him. He could not help but turn around to take a look. The most terrifying thing was that a faint smile appeared at the corners of his lips. It was Yang Liuji. They had not seen each other for a few days, and Yang Liuji's injuries were almost healed. He looked coldly at Lu Ming. Beside Yang Liuji was a tall young man. He was wearing the same clothes as Yang Liuji. Obviously, he was also from the Sun Mansion of Bloodjiao. He stared at Lu Ming in an unfriendly manner. "Yang Liuji is here. Is that Yin Feishuan, the top expert of the younger generation in the Great Sun Empire? It must be him, Yin Feishuan, ranked 9th on the Cloud Emperor list. There were exclamations all around. The top 10 geniuses on the Cloud Emperor list had finally appeared. Yin Feishuan's arrival seemed to have signaled the arrival of the top 10 geniuses. In the sky, there was a flash of blue light and 2 figures appeared in the square. One of the 2 blue-robed young men was Blue Cloud Fei. The other person was tall and slender. He carried a saber on his back, and his aura was wild. Blue Cloud Fei and Blue Cloud Dao. Blue Cloud Dao, ranked 5th, is here. There was another round of exclamations. As soon as Lan Yunfei and Lan Yundao arrived, they scanned the surroundings. In the next moment, they discovered Lu Ming and the group. The 2 of them strode towards Lu Ming and the others. This is going to be interesting. The crowd focused their attention on Blue Cloud Dao and Lu Ming. The geniuses in the square were also watching with interest. Soon, Blue Cloud Fei and Blue Cloud Dao were not far away from Lu Ming and the others. You 2 are Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing? Blue Cloud Fei asked. His eyes fell on Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing, and he did not hide the murderous intent in his eyes. Yes, I didn't expect to be so famous now. Lu Ming smiled and did not care. Xian Yinqing curled his lips and did not even bother to reply. Seeing this, Blue Cloud Dao's face turned gloomy and he said coldly, "You dare to beat up my Blue Blade family. You have guts. However, those who dare to beat up my Blue Blade family are no longer in this world." Is that so? Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue when you talk big? The world is so big and there are so many experts. There are plenty of people who can destroy your clan with a flick of their hand. How dare you say that the people who dared to hit your Blue Blade aristocratic family are no longer in this world? Lu Ming said indifferently, and his voice was filled with sarcasm. What did you say? Blue Cloud Dao was furious. Brother Lan, why are you talking nonsense with them? Just kill them. At this moment, Yin Feishuan walked over and said with murderous intent, "You want to kill me? Why don't you try?" Lu Ming's eyes were filled with murderous intent, and a powerful aura rose from his body. Xian Yinqing, Feng Wuji, and Ling Yinqi walked to Lu Ming's side and released their auras. They stared at Yin Feishuan, Blue Cloud Dao, and the others. A battle was about to break out. This place does not allow a battle. Violators will be killed. Suddenly, a middle-aged man shouted, and a mountain-like pressure rose from his body. This man was a guard of the Dtion Divine Palace. Blue Cloud Dao and Yin Feishuan's faces changed, and they retracted their auras. Lu Ming and the others also retracted their auras. Humph, I'll let you off today. Lu Ming, I hope you can pass the preliminaries smoothly. At the Dtion Divine Guard preliminaries, I'll let you know the consequences of offending the Blue Saber family clan. Chapter 360. Yin Feishuan and Yang Liuji also cast a cold glance at Lu Ming and turned to leave. Miss Ye, Brother Lu, you must be careful. Feng Wuji and Ling Yinqi were worried. Don't worry. Lu Ming smiled faintly, looking relaxed. Xian Yinqing was expressionless. Swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, there were sounds of people flying through the air. Qiu Changkong is here, and the strongest dark horse, Prince Hualing. Someone shouted. Lu Ming looked up and saw a few figures flying down from the sky. One of them was very young, about 21 or 22 years old. He wore a long red robe and his eyes were like lightning. His aura was strong, and he looked around with his hands behind his back. This person must be Prince Hualing. The other person was carrying a battle sword. If he wasn't Qiu Changkong, who else could he be? Qiu Changkong saw Lu Ming the moment he arrived, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Lu Ming, I don't know how you managed to get your hands on the invitation letter. If you didn't participate in the selection of the Dtion Divine Guards, you would have been able to live a little longer. Now that you're here, you're courting death. After the preliminaries, the real preliminaries will be the time of your death. Qiu Changkong's eyes were cold and his mind was filled with thoughts. He had heard the news that Lu Ming had defeated Yang Liuji, and he was shocked. He was shocked that Lu Ming had the invitation letter, and was also shocked by Lu Ming's strength. However, he was only shocked at the beginning and was not afraid. He was confident that he could kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming looked at Qiu Changkong, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. He must kill Qiu Changkong. Lu Yuntian had been tortured for 8 years because of Qiu Changkong. Swoosh, swoosh. The sound of people flying through the air could be heard from time to time. Not long after, Jiang Hongwan, who was ranked 3rd on the Emperor Yun board, and Prince Tianqi, who was ranked 2nd, arrived together. Prince Tianqi was wearing a green robe. His face was gloomy and his eyes were cold like a poisonous snake. Anyone who was stared at by him would feel cold. Jiang Hongwan's figure was tall, and his aura was grand and domineering. He was the complete opposite of young Master Heavenly Snake. Up until now, there were nearly 600 people in the square. All of them were dragons and phoenixes among men. Their auras were extraordinary, and when they gathered together, it was incomparably spectacular. Jian Fengyun still hasn't come. Could he be dead? Hee. Suddenly, a gloomy and cold voice sounded out, and it was from young Master Heavenly Serpent. Everyone couldn't help but look at him. Even a poisonous snake like you didn't die? How could Jian Fengyun die? Jiang Hongwan sneered coldly. Many people's expressions changed slightly. There were not many people on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard who dared to speak to young Master Sky Snake like that. Blue Cloud Dao was ranked 5th. He was arrogant and rampant, but in front of Sky Snake Young Master, he had to be well behaved. Hee. I heard that Jian Fengyun went to another area to train. It's normal for him to die outside. Young Master Heavenly Snake smiled sinisterly. Jian Fengyun was the #1 genius on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. He was the #1 expert of the younger generation in the Cloud Emperor's 36 countries. Haha, Wei Tianqi, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. At this moment, a loud laugh came from afar. Whoosh! A sword light cut through the void with unbelievable speed. It was clearly still 10 miles away a moment ago, but the next moment, it was above the square. The sword light dissipated, and a young figure appeared. 24 or 25 years old, wearing a gray robe, with a slender figure and bright eyes. His entire person looked like a peerless divine sword that had not been unsheathed. The most eye-catching thing was that there was a long scar on his face. It was very hideous. Jian Fengyun, you're finally here. Young Master Heavenly Serpent's eyes moved, revealing a trace of solemnity. This person was Jian Fengyun, the #1 on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. There was a burst of excited discussion at the scene. Why is there an additional scar on Jian Fengyun's face? It wasn't there before. Who's so powerful to leave a scar on Jian Fengyun's face? There was a burst of whispers in the vicinity. Wei Tianqi, I'm here. Are you very disappointed? Jian Fengyun looked at young Master Heavenly Serpent and said, What's there to be disappointed about? You came at the right time. This time, I'll completely defeat you. Young Master Heavenly Serpent sneered, then his eyes flickered as he said, Jian Fengyun, I heard that you went to other regions to train. What's wrong? You were injured? That's too embarrassing. What's there to be embarrassed about? I was training in the Xinjiang water region and was injured by a genius there. I have to tell you that the geniuses of other regions are extremely powerful, far stronger than the Cloud Emperor mountain range. Jian Fengyun said calmly. This caused young Master Heavenly Serpent, Jiang Hongwan, and the other geniuses' faces to turn solemn. Jian Fengyun, what's your ranking in the Xinjiang water region? Young Master Heavenly Serpent asked. 18th. Jian Fengyun said word by word. What? As soon as these words came out, the whole place was in an uproar. The #1 genius of the Cloud Emperor mountain range was defeated by the 18th genius of the Xinjiang water region and left with a scar on his face. How was that possible? Was the Xinjiang water region really that powerful? Haha, Jian Fengyun, in my opinion, it's not that your opponent is too strong, but that you're too weak. It seems like you've regressed in the past few years. This time, I'll surpass you completely. Young Master Heavenly Serpent burst out laughing. He didn't believe that the Xinjiang water region was that strong. If the 18th genius could defeat Jian Fengyun, wouldn't that mean that there were at least 18 geniuses above him, Prince Sky Snake? And this was just the Xinjiang water region. What about the other regions? With Prince Sky Snake's pride, he definitely didn't believe that so many geniuses could surpass him. He felt that Jian Fengyun was too weak and didn't advance. Many people nodded their heads and were more willing to believe Prince Sky Snake's words. A frog at the bottom of a well. Jian Fengyun smiled faintly and couldn't be bothered to say more. Prince Sky Snake snorted and stood by the side. As of now, the number of people had reached 600. Ka. At this moment, the door of the Emperor Sky Divine Palace opened and a few figures walked out. Leading them was a white-haired old man in a black robe. The old man had a benevolent look and didn't have any aura around him. He was just like an ordinary person who didn't cultivate. However, no one dared to underestimate him because he was from the Emperor Sky Divine Palace. It seems like everyone is here. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lu Xiu, and I'm the host of this preliminary round. When you participate in the real selection, I'll be the one leading you. The old man introduced himself. Greetings, Senior Lu. The geniuses in the square bowed in unison. Lu Xiu nodded his head and said, "All right, let's cut to the chase. Follow me. The location of the preliminary round isn't here." With that, Lu Xiu soared into the sky and flew towards the north. The participating geniuses in the square also soared into the sky and followed him. Lu Ming and the other three blended into the crowd and didn't attract any attention. The spectators in the square sighed and felt that it was a pity. Chapter 361. The group of 600 people flew above the cloud-desolate empire's imperial capital. It was a spectacular sight. Their target was a mountain to the north of the imperial capital. It was only 100 miles away, so they arrived in a flash. Lu Xiu led the group to a flat area in front of two mountains. Okay, I'll tell you the rules of the preliminaries. The preliminaries are actually very simple. It's divided into 2 rounds. The first round is to test your force. It will test your understanding of force. Those who haven't reached greater success will be eliminated. Lu Xiu announced loudly. What? We're being eliminated without reaching greater success? Someone yelled in disappointment. Okay, you see the stone pillar in front of you. It's a treasure to test your force. As long as you input your force into the pillar, it will have different colors. It's divided into blue, purple, silver, and gold. They correspond to the entry, initial success, greater success, and perfection of your force. Only when the pillar has a silver color will you pass. Now, let's begin. Lu Xiu announced loudly. Lu Ming and the others nodded. The rules were simple. I'll go first. A skinny youth walked out confidently. He walked to the front of the stone pillar and struck out with his palm. A powerful force of wind surged out from his palm and poured into the stone pillar. Instantly, the stone pillar emitted a faint silver light. It was beautiful. Force of wind, early stage of greater success. Pass. Next, Lu Xiu announced. There were naturally people registering on the side. I'll go. A muscular youth walked out and a powerful force poured into the stone pillar. The stone pillar immediately emitted a silver light. It was darker than the previous youths. Force of earth, middle stage of greater success. Pass. Next, Lu Xiu announced. Next, the youths went up one by one. These youths' force had all reached greater success. Some were in the early stage, some were in the middle stage, and only a small number were in the late stage. Those who hadn't reached greater success didn't even go up. I'll go too. Me too. Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi also went up. Feng Wuji had comprehended the force of wind and had reached the early stage of greater success. Ling Yanqi had comprehended the force of fire and had reached the middle stage of greater success. Soon, more than 400 youths had all passed. At the level of the 6 blazing sun heroes, most of the geniuses had already achieved great success in their share. Of course, there were a few who didn't. However, not a single one of them had reached perfection. Although there was only a single step between mastery and perfection in force, the difference was huge. One was flawed while the other was perfect. The difference in power was several times greater. Yang Liuji is up. Many people's eyes lit up. Until now, none of the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard had entered the arena. They wanted to see how powerful the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard were. Yang Liuji walked in front of the stone pillar, his body emitting a blazing aura. With a wave of his hand, his power surged into the stone pillar. Wong. The stone pillar trembled and an extremely dense silver light was emitted, making the entire stone pillar look as if it was made of pure silver. Fire Force, great success limit, Lu Xiao announced. He was just a step away from reaching consummation. This was the first person who had reached the peak of great accomplishment in Sure. Lu Ming's eyes were calm, and he wasn't surprised at all. He had fought with Yang Liuji before, and he was well aware of Yang Liuji's strength. Yang Liuji's appearance had opened the curtains for the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. Following that, the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard entered the arena one by one. Unfortunately, most of the geniuses on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard had only reached the peak of great accomplishment. Some of them were only at the late stage of great accomplishment, and none of them had reached consummation. Even those who were ranked in the top 10 were only at the peak of great accomplishment. Prince Hualing is up, someone shouted. Prince Hualing strode forward arrogantly, but he was only at the peak of great accomplishment. After that, Qiu Changkong, Yin Feishuan, and Blue Cloud went up one by one. Unfortunately, none of them had reached the consummation level. This showed how difficult it was to reach the consummation level. I'm going to take the test. Do you want to come along? Xian Yinqing glanced at Lu Ming. Sure. Lu Ming nodded. The two of them attracted a lot of attention. Blue Cloud said, Yin Feishuan, Qiu Changkong, and Qiu Changkong looked over coldly. Shall I go first, or shall you go first? Xian Yinqing looked at Lu Ming. Either one is fine. Lu Ming said with a smile. Then you go first. Xian Yinqing said. Lu Ming stepped forward, and a blazing aura burst out from his body. The force of fire surged into the stone pillar, and it immediately turned pure silver. The force of fire has reached the peak of great accomplishment, Lu Xiao announced. Many people weren't surprised. Lu Ming was able to defeat Yang Liuji, so his understanding of force wouldn't be bad. It was normal for him to reach the peak of great accomplishment. Lu Ming smiled and took a few steps back. During this period, he had cultivated the force of fire to the peak of great accomplishment, but it was difficult for him to reach consummation. As for the force of wind, it had reached the peak of lesser accomplishment and was about to reach great accomplishment. Lu Ming believed that the combination of the two forces wouldn't be any weaker than a consummation force. Lu Ming retreated, while Xian Yinqing stepped forward. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying force erupted from Xian Yinqing's body, and a green light surrounded him. Whoosh! This was the force of wind. The powerful force of wind surged into the stone pillar. Buzz! The stone pillar shook violently, and in the next moment, rays of golden light spread out. Golden light! It's golden light! Someone shouted. Consummation force. This woman has cultivated her force to the consummation stage. Terrifying. Monster, why haven't I heard of it before? The surroundings were in an uproar, and there were waves of exclamations. Lu Ming was stunned as well. Subsequently, he sighed. A 7th-level king-level bloodline was indeed terrifying. Even the comprehension of force was unique and profound. Yin Feishuan and Blue Cloud said. Qiu Changkong and the other two's eyes flashed with killing intent. Jin Fengyun, Prince Tianxi, and Jiang Hongwen's eyes lit up. Prince Sky Snake, in particular, stared fixedly at Xian Yinqing. His eyes flashed with the flames of greed and lust. Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi opened their mouths in shock. Force of wind, consummation. Good, good, good. Lu Xiao laughed and was overjoyed. The stronger the geniuses in the Cloud Emperor mountain range were, the greater his contribution would be, and he would be rewarded accordingly. He was naturally happy. Xian Yinqing retracted his qi and walked to Lu Ming's side. He curled his lips provocatively as if he was saying, See? I'm stronger than you. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and touched his nose. Next, Lu Xiao shouted, Let me. Jiang Hongwen strode forward and waved his hand. A force landed on the stone pillar. The stone pillar shook and emitted a golden light. Force, consummation. Let me. Prince Tianxi stepped forward and his body trembled slightly. A force like a long snake slammed into the stone pillar. In the next moment, golden light spread out. It's your turn. Prince Tianxi looked at Jin Fengyun. Jian Fengyun smiled and stood still. Suddenly, two rays of sword light shot out from his eyes. The sword light was condensed from his force, and it landed on the stone pillar. The stone pillar shook violently and emitted a rich golden light. Similarly, force, consummation. From then on, only 4 people's force had reached consummation. Chapter 362. Who else would like to take the test? Lu Xiu looked at the remaining 60 over people. These 60 over people had been standing still. Obviously, they had no confidence in themselves. At this moment, their faces were pale and they were hesitant. If you don't come up, you will be disqualified, Lu Xiu announced. Let me. Finally, someone went up and decided to give it a try. Unfortunately, his force was only at the limit of small success and had not reached greater success. He was mercilessly eliminated. Then, a few more people went up, hoping to get lucky, but they were all eliminated. The remaining people shook their heads and sighed. No one continued to take the test because there was no need to. They knew best whether their force had reached greater success or not. All right, those who have been eliminated, leave this place. Those who have succeeded, follow me into the Valley of Illusions. Lu Xiu said loudly. Those who had been eliminated sighed and left the place, ending the selection of the Dtion Divine Guards. All right, follow me, Lu Xiu said, then turned around and walked away. The Valley of Illusions was in the middle of the 2 mountains. That place was heavily guarded by soldiers. Following Lu Xiu, there were no obstructions and they arrived at the valley. The valley was very wide, at least 1,000 meters wide. There were cliffs on both sides. In front of the valley, there was a huge light screen that separated the valley. Behind the light screen, it was hazy and nothing could be seen. Behind this light screen, there is an inscription array called the 10,000 Illusions Killing Array. The second round of the preliminaries will take place in this array. As long as you enter the 10,000 Illusions Killing Array, powerful martial artists or demonic beasts will be formed. As long as you kill the martial artists or demonic beasts inside, you will obtain the corresponding points. The 2 stone tablets in front of the 10,000 Illusions Killing Array will show your points and ranking. Only those who have reached 500 points will be considered as having passed the test. Only then will they be able to participate in the true selection of the Dtion Divine Guards. The time limit is only half an hour. Once half an hour is up, you will be automatically teleported out. This standard is the same in many regions of the Tianxian region. Lu Xiu briefly introduced the rules of the second round of preliminaries. As expected, in front of the light screen, the crowd saw 2 huge stone tablets that were 100 meters tall and 10 meters wide. All right, the rules are simple. Next, it will depend on your strength. The 10,000 Illusions Killing Array can accommodate 50 people each time. You can make your choice. You can start now, Lu Xiu announced. Hearing Lu Xiu's words, everyone looked at each other. Then, someone walked out in large strides towards the 10,000 Illusions Killing Array. With someone taking the lead, the others naturally followed suit. After a short while, 50 people charged into the 10,000 Illusionary Killing Array. When the 50 people rushed into the 10,000 Illusionary Killing Array, the 2 stone tablets in front of them emitted a hazy light. After only a few breaths of time, a few lines of words suddenly appeared on the first stone tablet. Hornet, 1 point. Longmao, 1 point. 7 or 8 names appeared consecutively. Behind each name, there was a corresponding score. After a few more breaths, some people's points went from 1 to 2, and then to 3. More and more names appeared on the stone tablet. 2 minutes later, 50 names appeared on the stone tablet. Behind each name, there was a corresponding score. Some people's points increased very quickly, while others were much slower. A moment later, someone's points had already reached 400, approaching 500. As long as one reached 500 points, they would be able to pass the preliminaries and obtain the qualifications to participate in the real selection. At this moment, the light screen trembled, and someone flew out from it. Everyone saw that there were wounds on this person's body, and blood was dripping from them. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that this array was not that safe. As soon as this person flew out, his name disappeared from the first stone tablet. This person's face was dejected. Obviously, he had failed. After this person, The light screen trembled from time to time, and people kept flying out. Of these people who flew out, there was no doubt that none of them had reached 500 points. All of them ended in failure. When half an hour was about to end, 47 people had flown out, and these 47 people did not reach 500 points. Only the last 3 people who flew out had more than 500 points. Among them, the person with the highest score was 553 points. When the last 3 people came out, the second stone tablet lit up and 3 names appeared. First place, Hornet, 553 points. Second place, these 3 names were the 3 people who had reached 500 points. These 3 people were naturally overjoyed, while the other 47 people had unsightly expressions and were incomparably discouraged. The remaining people who had not yet entered looked extremely solemn. The elimination rate was too high. Out of the 50 people, 47 people were eliminated, and only 3 passed. Although there weren't any powerful geniuses in this group, the elimination rate still made people gasp. All right, the first group is finished. Next group, continue. Lucio announced. But everyone looked at each other, and for a moment, no one stepped forward. Hurry up. The result is the same whether it's morning or night. It won't be easy at night. Lucio frowned slightly. What's there to hesitate about? I'll go. Yang Liuji snorted coldly and strode forward. Then, one figure after another walked forward. 50 people disappeared into the light screen. Almost a breath after entering the light screen, a name suddenly flashed on the first stone tablet. Yang Liuji. Then, Yang Liuji's points soared crazily. 1 point, 2 points, 5 points, 10 points. The speed of the increase was terrifying. In just 5 minutes, his points had exceeded 500 points, and it was still rising. Compared to him, the others were much slower. Yang Liuji's points only slowed down when it exceeded 1,000 points. At this moment, the light screen kept shaking, and people flew out from it. Soon, half an hour had passed, and the people in this group had all come out. This time, a total of 6 people had accumulated more than 500 points and passed the preliminaries. The names of these 6 people also appeared on the second stone tablet. Including the 3 people in front, there were a total of 9 names on the second stone tablet. Yang Liuji had a total of 1,210 points and was ranked first. Yang Liuji looked proud and walked to the side. Then, the third group of 50 people entered. This time, 5 people passed. This group also had a genius on the Emperor Yun leaderboard. This person was slightly stronger than Yang Liuji, and his points were 22 points more than Yang Liuji's. He rushed to the first place, and Yang Liuji fell to the second place. Then, the fourth group, the fifth group. Chapter 363. The ranking on the second stone tablet was constantly fluctuating. People were constantly being surpassed, and people were constantly rushing to the top. After the sixth group, Yang Liuji had fallen to 21st place. This made his expression extremely gloomy, especially when a few unknown and unknown people had surpassed him. This made his expression even uglier. There were still many experts who had yet to enter the arena. Yang Liuji was originally ambitious and wanted to rush to the top 30 or even the top 20. Now, it seemed like there was no hope at all. It would be considered good if he could keep his position on the Emperor Yun leaderboard. After the sixth group, it was the seventh group's turn. Brother Yin, shall we join the battle? Blue Cloud looked at Yin Feishuan and said with a smile, "That's what I want." Yin Feishuan smiled. "Count me in." A young man in a green shirt stepped out. Everyone recognized that he was Ji Rufeng, who was ranked 7th. The top 10 geniuses are going to join the battle. Everyone was shocked, and they were looking forward to it. This time, would there be a change in the top 10 rankings? With a flash, the young men rushed forward one by one. Young Master Hualing is joining the battle too. And Qiu Chongkong. Someone shouted. Lu Ming looked up and saw the arrogant young Master Hualing and Qiu Chongkong. The two of them had attracted a lot of attention recently. Many people were guessing if the two of them could make it to the top 10. Whoosh! Whoosh! 50 figures rushed into the 1,000 illusion-killing array. Everyone's eyes were burning as they stared at the 2 stone tablets. There were many experts in this group, and the competition would be fierce. Buzz! Almost as soon as everyone rushed in, the first stone tablet suddenly shone with names. Blue Cloud said, Ji Rufeng, Yin Feishuan, Cho Changkong, Young Master Huoling, at the same time. The points behind their names jumped rapidly and began to soar. The 5 of them were increasing their points at almost the same speed, and they left the others far behind. In just 2 minutes, the 5 of them had more than 500 points and continued to soar. In 8 minutes, their points had exceeded 1,000 points. At this time, the 5 of them gradually slowed down. It's amazing that Xiao Changkong and Young Master Huoling can keep up with Blue Cloud. Their speed is amazing. Could it be that the 2 of them can really make it into the top 10? It's hard to say. The 10,000 illusionary killing array becomes more and more difficult as one progresses further. At their level, if one wants to determine the victor, it will depend on the competition later on. Many youths discussed animatedly. The points continued to rise. 1,500, 1,800, 2,000. After 20 minutes, all 5 of them had scored more than 2,000 points. At this time, it could be seen that Blue Cloud's Dao was rising the fastest, followed by Ji Rufeng. On the other hand, Yin Feishuan, Cho Changkong, and Young Master Huoling were about the same. When they broke through the 2,100 mark, Yin Feishuan, Young Noble Huoling, and Cho Changkong's points increased at a snail's pace. When the 30 minutes were up, the light screen trembled and several figures flew out. They were Yin Feishuan, Cho Changkong, and Young Master Huoling. Their faces were pale, and their auras were weak. Cho Changkong is in the lead. His points are actually higher than Huoling and Yin Feishuan. Someone cried out loudly, full of shock. Cho Changkong's score was 2,235. Yin Feishuan's score was 2,205, which was 30 points lower than Cho Changkong's. Young Noble Huoling's score was 30 points lower than Yin Feishuan's. Damn it! Yin Feishuan shouted angrily, and his eyes flashed with killing intent. He was actually surpassed by Cho Changkong. Humph! It's just luck. If we were to fight head-on, I would definitely be able to kill them all. Young Noble Huoling snorted coldly, feeling very unhappy. When the time came, Blue Cloud's Dao and Ji Rufeng also appeared. Both of them had scored more than 2,400 points, but Blue Cloud's Dao had scored more points and was ahead of Ji Rufeng. At this time, the second stone tablet flickered, and the rankings on it also changed. Blue Cloud's Dao was temporarily first, Ji Rufeng was second, Cho Changkong was third, Yin Feishuan was fourth, and Young Noble Huoling was fifth. As for Yang Liuji, he had already reached the 29th place. This made Yang Liuji's face as gloomy as charcoal. Next, the 8th group, Lu Xiu announced. As soon as his voice fell, a young man stepped out. Jian Fengyun. Everyone's hearts shook violently. Jian Fengyun was going to fight, and everyone was extremely excited. Jian Fengyun, a rare demonic genius, dominated the Emperor Yun board and suppressed the other geniuses in the Emperor Yun mountain range, because he was too strong. As for him, no one had seen him fight for almost 2 years. Until now, what realm had his cultivation reached? Haha, Jian Fengyun, you're finally going to fight. Good. Although this isn't a direct fight, it's still an indirect competition. Let me see how much progress you've made during this time. Young Noble Tianchi sneered and stepped out. Since all of you are going to fight, I'll join in as well. Zhang Hongwen also stepped out with a smile. Everyone could only feel their hearts beating faster. The top 3 geniuses on the Emperor Yun board were going to fight together. This was too shocking and exciting. Everyone could already see countless sparks shining. 2 of the top 10 geniuses wanted to fight, but they stopped at this time. If they fought together with Jian Fengyun, Young Noble Tianchi, and Zhang Hongwen, they would only be a supporting role. Tianchi, I will let you see the gap between you and me getting bigger and bigger. Jian Fengyun smiled faintly, and his strong confidence was revealed. Humph, strength doesn't depend on words. Young Noble Tianchi snorted. Whoosh, whoosh. In the next moment, figures flashed and rushed into the 10,000 illusion-killing array. Then, the points began to soar crazily. Jian Fengyun, Young Noble Tianchi, and Zhang Hongwen's points soared at a terrifying speed. 500 points, 1,000 points, 1,500 points, 2,000 points. After reaching 2,000 points, their speed did not slow down, and they continued to soar. Many people's hearts were in their throats as they watched with their eyes wide open, afraid that they would miss an exciting scene. 3,000 points. When they reached 3,000 points, young noble Tianqi and Jiang Hongwen's speed began to slow down. However, Jin Fengyun's speed was still very fast. Gosh, 3,000 points. According to my speculation, after 3,000 points, the opponents will be at the early stage of the martial ancestor realm. Moreover, there will be 20 of them. That's right. Their opponents are indeed 20 experts at the early stage of the martial ancestor realm. Lu Xiu gave an affirmative answer. Everyone gasped and Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Facing the siege of 20 experts at the early stage of the martial ancestor realm, Jin Fengyun's points continued to increase. The top 3 on the Emperor Yun board were indeed terrifying. As time passed, it became harder for young noble Tianqi and Jiang Hongwen to increase their points. In the end, they basically came to a standstill. Jin Fengyun's points continued to increase. In the end, he was more than 600 points ahead of young noble Tianqi. Whoosh! Whoosh! Chapter 364. The moment he came out, young Master Sky Snake hurriedly looked at the stone tablet. When he saw the score on the stone tablet, young Master Sky Snake's expression changed drastically. He roared furiously. Impossible! Jin Fengyun, how can your score be so much higher than mine? 600 points higher than Jin Fengyun's score. This wasn't a small difference, but a few levels higher. Young Master Tian, she found it hard to believe that the gap between him and Jin Fengyun was so huge. Nothing is impossible, Sky Snake. You think that you're an unparalleled genius in the Cloud Emperor mountain range, but you're just a frog in a well. There are countless people like you in this world. Jin Fengyun said indifferently. Impossible. Young Master Tian, she roared, thinking that Jin Fengyun was purposely attacking him. Jin Fengyun sneered and walked to the side, not bothering to talk to young Master Tian Shi. The others were extremely shocked. Jin Fengyun was too strong. No wonder he was ranked first on the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. He had a huge lead over the second place, and no one could surpass him. Lu Xiu nodded. This time, the Cloud Emperor mountain range would depend on Jin Fengyun for the selection. On the second stone tablet, there were changes to the rankings. Jin Fengyun was ranked first, and young Master Tian Shi was ranked second, 100 points higher than Jiang Hongwen. Jiang Hongwen was ranked third. As for Lan Yundao and the others, their rankings had all dropped by 3 places. All right, Group 9, get ready, Lu Xiu announced. Lu Ming, let's go together. Let's see who can suppress who. Xian Yinqing looked at Lu Ming with a provocative look. I'll keep you company. Lu Ming smiled. The two of them strode out. Feng Wuji and Ling Yinqi also rushed out. Xian Yinqing has made her move. Her presence has reached a terrifying level. I wonder what rank she will get? It's hard to say. The 1,000 illusion killing array tests one's overall combat strength. Presence is only one of the aspects of combat strength. Although Xian Yinqing's presence is strong, her overall combat strength might not be that strong. Bloodline rank, cultivation technique, physical body cultivation, comprehension of martial techniques, etc. Xian Yinqing's cultivation is too low. She might not be able to get a high rank. It would be good if she could get into the 36th place. You're right. The top 36th place is equivalent to getting into the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. Look, Shangguan Yunyan and the others have made their move. The surrounding crowd was discussing animatedly. Suddenly, there was a cry of surprise. Shangguan Yunyan was ranked 4th on the Monarch Cloud leaderboard. She was also the only female in the top 10 of the Monarch Cloud leaderboard. In addition, there were several geniuses in the top 10 of the Imperial Cloud ranking list, such as the 6th and 8th geniuses. Although Lu Ming defeated Yang Liuji, what was Yang Liuji's ranking now? He was about to drop out of the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. Even if Lu Ming could defeat him, how powerful could he be? At most, he could get into the Cloud Emperor leaderboard. That would not attract the crowd's attention. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 50 people rushed into the 1,000 illusion killing array and disappeared. As soon as Lu Ming rushed into the light screen, he suddenly felt dizzy. In the next moment, he found himself standing on a grassland. In front of him, there was a flash of light. Demonic beasts were forming. There were 20 black tigers in total. They looked at Lu Ming with murderous intent. They roared and pounced on Lu Ming. They are equivalent to the early 5th level of the martial ancestor realm. Kill one, and you will get 1 point. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as some information flashed through his mind. At the same time, the demon banishing spear appeared in his hand, and he swung it. Bang! Bang! Like fireworks, the 20 demonic beasts that were equivalent to the early 5th level of the martial ancestor realm were all blown up by Lu Ming's spear. They turned into wisps of energy and dissipated in the air. Whoosh whoosh. After the 20 tigers were blown up, the energy in the air swept across the place. A few breaths later, another 20 tigers appeared. The difference was that the auras of these 20 tigers were stronger than before. They had reached the middle 5th level of the martial ancestor realm. Middle 5th level of the martial ancestor realm. Kill one, and you will get 2 points. It was the same for everyone. At the beginning, they would encounter 20 demonic beasts of the early 5th level of the martial ancestor realm. After killing them all, stronger beasts would appear. Early 5th level of the martial ancestor realm. Kill one, and you will get 1 point. Middle 5th level of the martial ancestor realm. Kill one, and you will get 2 points. Late 5th level of the martial ancestor realm. Kill one, and you will get 3 points. Following that, every time one's cultivation level increased, the points would increase by 1 point. For example, peak 5th level of the martial ancestor realm was 4 points. Early 6th level of the martial ancestor realm was 5 points. In order to obtain 500 points and pass the preliminaries, one would have to reach the late 6th level of the martial ancestor realm and kill at least 6 of them. To be able to kill 6 demonic beasts of the late 6th level of the martial ancestor realm, one's overall strength would be comparable to a peak 6th level of the martial ancestor realm. The 20 tigers of the middle 5th level of the martial ancestor realm stood no chance against Lu Ming. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming shook his long spear and beams of spear gleams shot out. 20 huge tigers exploded under the spear gleams. On the stone tablet outside, Lu Ming's points increased rapidly. However, it did not attract too much attention. It was normal for his points to increase rapidly at the beginning. The battle continued in the 10,000 illusion formation. After the 20 tigers of the middle 5th level of the martial ancestor realm were killed, another 20 beasts of the late 5th level of the martial ancestor realm appeared. They were killed with ease. Following that, 20 tigers of the peak 5th level of the martial ancestor realm appeared. After the 20 tigers of the peak 5th level of the martial ancestor realm were killed, the heavens and earth changed rapidly. Lu Ming realized that he was in a swamp. Whoosh! Whoosh! Suddenly, 20 snakes as thick as a bowl shot out from the swamp and pounced toward Lu Ming. The strength of its aura was much stronger than that of the giant tiger from before. They were demonic beasts of the early 6th level of the martial ancestor realm. Lu Ming remained calm and continued to stab with his spear. Bang! Bang! The snakes exploded in the air. The demonic beasts of the 6th level of the martial ancestor realm were no match for Lu Ming. They could not stop Lu Ming at all. Lu Ming swept down with an unstoppable force. His points also skyrocketed. Soon, it exceeded 500 points. It continued to rise. 600 points, 700 points. After Lu Ming killed the 20 demonic beasts of the peak 6th level of the martial ancestor realm, Lu Ming's points reached 720. At that moment, the surroundings changed again. It turned into a huge mountain surrounded by rocks. Suddenly, the rocks in the surroundings changed and turned into giant stone golems that were 3 meters tall. There were a total of 20 golems. Dong! Dong! Each golem had a cultivation of the early 7th level of the martial ancestor realm. They each held a mace made of rocks in their hands and charged toward Lu Ming with a thunderous roar. The mace smashed down. It was as if a mountain was pressing down on Lu Ming. It was as powerful as a mountain. Lu Ming stomped his foot, and his body shot forward like a cannonball. The power of wind and fire merged on his spear as he lashed out. Bang! One of the golems was struck by the spear and exploded into pieces, sending debris flying everywhere. Instantly, Lu Ming's points increased by 9. Chapter 365. Swoosh, swoosh. The long spear continued to stab out, and the stone golems exploded one by one. Soon, the 20 stone golems were all defeated by Lu Ming. Next, the stone golems at the middle stage of Martial Ancestor Realm 7 were unable to stop Lu Ming. He swept all the way. When the 20 stone golems at the later stage of Martial Ancestor Realm 7 were defeated, Lu Ming's points had surpassed Yang Liuji's. Outside the array, Yang Liuji stared fixedly at the stone tablet, gnashing his teeth in anger. Lu Ming, Yang Liuji bellowed. Although he was mentally prepared, he was still unhappy that Lu Ming had surpassed him. However, the others did not pay much attention to Lu Ming because the top 10 on the Emperor Yun board were increasing their points as fast as Lu Ming's. Boom, boom. In the 10,000 illusion-killing array, Lu Ming defeated the last 2 stone golems at the peak of Martial Ancestor Realm 7. At that point, Lu Ming's points had reached 1,560. At that moment, the surrounding scenery changed again. Lu Ming realized that he had appeared in a huge canyon. In the canyon, the wind was howling and it tore the earth apart. Swoosh, swoosh. In the wind, there were sounds of something breaking the air. In the next moment, rays of saber radiance slashed toward Lu Ming. They were as fast as lightning, and in the blink of an eye, they were in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed and his body shook slightly. His body was like a flickering shadow, and he flew back dozens of meters. Buzz. The long spear shook and swept out. A figure was sent flying. At that moment, Lu Ming saw that it was a figure wrapped in a black robe. The 10,000 illusion-killing array would not only gather demonic beasts, but also martial artists. Swoosh. Rays of saber radiance slashed toward Lu Ming from behind. Clang, clang. Lu Ming waved his long spear and blocked a few of the sabers. The black-robed men were all at the early stage of Martial Ancestor Realm 8. Wind Force. Lu Ming used the power of wind and began to sense the black-robed person's trajectory. Although the black-robed person's speed was fast, under Lu Ming's wind momentum, he still had nowhere to hide. Found you. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly flashed as he instantly thrust out his spear a dozen times. Puff, puff. 5 or 6 black-robed men were pierced by Lu Ming in succession, turning into energy and dissipating. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, martial artists in the early stage of the martial arts Grandmaster realm were no match for him. After he found their tracks, Lu Ming killed them one by one. Soon, the 20 black-robed men in the early stage of the martial arts Grandmaster realm were all killed. In the next moment, 20 middle-stage martial arts Grandmaster realm black-robed men appeared. The speed of these 20 black-robed men was even faster. In the fierce wind, their speed was like lightning. Even when Lu Ming unleashed the power of wind, it was also hard to capture the trajectory. Force. These black-robed men have actually mastered the force of wind. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with astonishment. Amazing. This is really amazing. This is only a large formation, but the martial artists inside have actually mastered the force of wind. Lu Ming was amazed. This force of wind is different from what I have comprehended. Yes, the force of wind can be like this. Why didn't I think of it before? For a moment, Lu Ming was not in a hurry to kill the black-robed men. Instead, he blocked them while comprehending the force of wind. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, if he unleashed all his strength and unleashed the 9 dragon sky-stomping steps, he would definitely be able to surpass 4 small realms and fight with a martial artist in the peak of the martial arts Grandmaster realm. He might even be able to win. If he unleashed all his strength, it would not be impossible for him to break through this stage. However, Lu Ming was not in a hurry now. Outside the 10,000 illusion-killing formation, everyone stared at the stone tablet. In the beginning, Lu Ming did not attract too much attention. However, when Lu Ming passed the stage of the martial arts Grandmaster realm and reached 1,560 points, he attracted a lot of attention. This was a hurdle. Those who could pass this hurdle would be considered top geniuses on the Emperor Yun leaderboard and would definitely be ranked in the top 20. Lu Ming is so powerful that he has accumulated 1,560 points. Next, he will be facing a martial artist in the early stage of the martial arts Grandmaster realm. I wonder how far Lu Ming can go. Many people were discussing. Yang Liuji could not help but gnash his teeth when he heard the discussion. I didn't expect Lu Ming to be quite powerful. Yin Feishuan muttered. He is quite capable, but he still has to die. Blue Cloud snorted. Lu Ming, I did not expect your strength to have reached this stage. It seems that I must find a chance to kill you in the selection of the Imperial Sky Divine Guards. Qiu Wuyang's eyes shone with a cold light. However, not long after, their faces changed. Lu Ming's points continued to rise at an extremely fast speed. He was not any slower than Shangguan Yanqin and the other top 10 geniuses on the Emperor Yun leaderboard. It's still rising. Lu Ming's points are still rising. He is too powerful. Will Lu Ming make it to the top 10? I did not expect Lu Ming's combat strength to be so terrifying. When he defeated Yang Liuji, I guess he did not use much of his strength. Oh my god, look, Xian Yinqing's points are not bad either. They are all from the Burning Sun Empire. Including Qiu Changkong, the small Burning Sun Empire has 3 terrifying geniuses. Unbelievable! Everyone was exclaiming. Very soon, Lu Ming's points soared to 1,820. This meant that Lu Ming had already killed all 20 martial artists in the early stage of the 8th Martial Arts Grandmaster realm. Next, Lu Ming will face 20 middle stage martial arts Grandmaster realm martial artists. As long as he can pass this stage, there is a high chance that he will make it to the top 10. If he can pass the next stage, he will surpass Zhou Changkong and make it to the top 10. I'm looking forward to it. Wait, did you notice that Lu Ming's points have stopped rising? Yes, could it be that he has reached his limit? Most likely. I guess he is at the end of his rope. He must be trying his best to defend himself. That is why his points have stopped rising. Phew. Zhou Changkong, Yin Feishuan, and the others heaved a sigh of relief. Zhou Changkong was especially nervous when he saw Lu Ming's points surging. He was afraid that Lu Ming would surpass him. With his pride, he would not be able to accept that Lu Ming surpassed him. Luckily, Lu Ming's points had stopped rising. Ho, Lu Ming, is this your limit? How disappointing. Zhou Changkong whispered with a smile on his face. At the same time, Blue Cloud and the others sneered. Lu Ming was not a threat to them. Look, Xian Yinqing's points have slowed down. That's right. It seems that Xian Yinqing's combat strength is slightly higher than Lu Ming's. However, he is not as strong as the top 10 geniuses on the Emperor Yun leaderboard. Some people discussed with each other and expressed their opinions. This was because the top 10 geniuses on the Emperor Yun leaderboard were still increasing their points. Soon, 3 of the top 10 geniuses on the Emperor Yun leaderboard surpassed Zhou Changkong and pushed him to the 9th place. As for Yin Feishuan, he dropped to the 10th place. Damn it. Chapter 366. Time passed by slowly. Soon, the half-hour limit was up. The light screen shook and Xian Yinqing appeared. Lu Ming's points were still stagnant, but he did not appear. He can still hold on. However, this is the preliminaries. What's the point of holding on? Zhou Changkong sneered. However, in the next moment, his eyes popped out and he opened his mouth so wide that he could swallow a dead mouse. On the first stone tablet, Lu Ming's score, which had remained stagnant, suddenly soared again at a terrifying speed. Everyone else's expression was similar to Zhou Changkong's. All of them were dumbfounded. How is this possible? How is this possible? Why is Lu Ming's points shooting up? Did he hide his strength? That's impossible. Everyone was discussing, and even Jian Fengyun was stunned. Lu Ming's points exceeded 2,000 in an instant. Subsequently, it was 2,100, 2,200, and he surpassed Zhou Changkong in one fell swoop. When Lu Ming's points reached more than 2,400, the screen vibrated and he flew out. Shangguan Yunyan and the other geniuses in the top 10 of the Emperor Yun leaderboard flew out together with him. Oh my god, why is there no more time? After coming out, Lu Ming kept mumbling to himself. He was speechless. Previously, when he saw the black-robed men, he began to comprehend the force of wind. His force of wind had already reached the limit of minor accomplishment. After comprehending it, his force of wind broke through and reached the great accomplishment. When the force of wind and force of fire merged with each other, their power skyrocketed. Previously, the force of wind and force of fire were not balanced. Although their power was great after merging, it had not reached its maximum. Now, when the two forces were balanced, their power was truly terrifying. It had completely surpassed the power of a single force of perfection. Lu Ming merged the two forces into his long spear. With a sweep of his long spear, the black-robed men in the middle stage of the martial ancestor realm collapsed. In just a few breaths' time, the 20 black-robed men in the middle stage of the martial ancestor realm were all defeated. Next, there were 20 black-robed men at the late stage of the martial arts grandmaster realm. However, they were unable to withstand Lu Ming's attack and were all killed within a short period of time. Just as Lu Ming was about to fight with the 20 black-robed men at the peak of the martial arts grandmaster realm, the space suddenly trembled and teleported him out. Lu Ming immediately knew that time was up. Forget it, this score shouldn't be too bad. Lu Ming mumbled, "Brother Lu, congratulations." At this time, Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi walked over and clasped their fists. However, the two of them looked helpless and bitter. Lu Ming knew that the two of them definitely did not pass and did not reach 500 points. Lu Ming had already guessed this, but he didn't say anything. At this moment, light flashed on the second stone tablet, and the rankings changed. There were no changes to the top three. It was still Jin Fengyun, Young Master Tianxi, and Jiang Hongwen. There was a change in the fourth place. It was Shangguan Yunyan. It was still Blue Cloud who was in the fifth place. There were no changes to the top 7 on the Emperor Yun board. However, there was a change in the 8th place. It was Lu Ming. Qiu Changkong dropped to the 10th place. Yin Feishuan dropped to the 11th place and out of the top 10. Damn it! Yin Feishuan was so angry that his body trembled. Before this competition, he was still confident and wanted to move up a few ranks. However, not only did he not move up, but he had also dropped back a few ranks. It's all Lu Ming's fault. Yin Feishuan blamed everything on Lu Ming. If Lu Ming hadn't made it to the 8th place, he wouldn't have dropped out of the top 10. Although there was only a difference of 1 rank between the 11th place and the top 10, they were on 2 completely different levels. On the other hand, Qiu Changkong's eyes were filled with killing intent. He couldn't accept that Lu Ming had surpassed him. They were both from the Burning Sun Empire. From now on, the top genius of the Burning Sun Empire was Lu Ming, not him. Kill, kill, kill. Qiu Changkong roared in his heart. Lu Ming seemed to have felt Qiu Changkong's murderous intent. He looked at Qiu Changkong and sneered, "Little Kong, I'm sorry. I accidentally overtook you. Now you're number 2 in the Blazing Sun Empire." Lu Ming, you? Qiu Changkong roared and his eyes turned red. What did Lu Ming just call him? Little Kong? What did he mean by accidentally surpassed him? Did he become the second? Every word was infuriating. Qiu Changkong felt that his heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys were aching. Lu Ming, the 1000 illusion killing array has a high score, but it doesn't mean that you can win in a real life and death battle. After a while, Qiu Changkong took a deep breath to calm himself down and said coldly, "Oh, is that so? Then let's have a real life and death battle." Lu Ming stared at Qiu Changkong with murderous eyes. Qiu Changkong was someone he had to kill. It would be great if he could take this opportunity to kill him. However, Qiu Changkong's eyes flickered and he did not agree. He snorted and walked to the side. He had no chance of winning now. He had no confidence in Lu Ming's combat strength. "So, you don't dare. What a coward." Lu Ming curled his lips. Qiu Changkong staggered and his eyes turned red again. He was so angry that he almost exploded. He wanted to turn around and chop Lu Ming into pieces. However, his rationality told him that he had to endure it. "Lu Ming, sooner or later, I will make sure you die without a burial ground." Qiu Changkong roared in his heart. The test was still going on and there was only one group left. However, there were no outstanding geniuses in this group, and no one was interested. Soon, half an hour had passed and the last group had finished. The candidates for this round of preliminaries had all been announced. A total of 98 people had passed the preliminaries and obtained the right to participate in the selection of the Empyrean Divine Guards. More than 600 people had come, and only 98 people had passed. The probability was not low. Don't forget that these people were all geniuses on the same level as the 6 heroes of the Burning Sun tribe. All right, 98 of you have passed the preliminaries and obtained the right to participate in the selection of the Empyrean Divine Guards. The selection of the Empyrean Divine Guards will be held in Myriad Star City 3 months later. You just have to rush to Myriad Star City within 3 months. Lu Xiao announced. Myriad Star City? Many people were stunned. Obviously, they had not heard of it before. Myriad Star City is a branch of the Empyrean Divine Palace in the east of Tianqian Domain. You just have to rush to Myriad Star City and gather at the Cloud Emperor Mountain Range. I will wait for you there. This is the map to Myriad Star City. Lu Xiao gave a brief introduction and then took out a stack of maps and gave one to each person. All right, follow me out now. You can make your own arrangements for the next 3 months. Lu Xiao said. After that, everyone followed Lu Xiao out of the Myriad Illusion Valley. Then, they went their separate ways. Lu Ming, you have surpassed me this time. Next time, I will definitely surpass you. On the way back, Xian Yinqing gritted her teeth and said to Lu Ming. This time, Xian Yinqing was ranked 15th, behind Lu Ming. She was still brooding over this. Chapter 367. By the side, Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi were blushing. They looked like they wanted to laugh, but were too embarrassed to do so. Xiaoqing, we are already an old couple. Don't be like this. Brother Feng and Brother Ling will laugh at us. Lu Ming leaned close to Xian Yinqing's ear and whispered, You, who is an old couple with you? Don't spout nonsense. Xian Yinqing's pretty face turned red. She gave Lu Ming a few hard glances. We have already looked at each other and touched each other. We are not an old couple. Do you really want me to do you? Lu Ming touched his chin and muttered, Lu Ming. There was a sharp scream. It was so piercing that Lu Ming's eardrums were buzzing. Xian Yinqing gritted her teeth. If not for Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi, she would have pounced on Lu Ming and bit him. Gentle, gentle. Girls have to be gentle, understand? Don't let Brother Feng and Brother Ling laugh at us. Lu Ming had his hands behind his back and said with a naughty smile, By the side. Brother Ling, the starry sky is so beautiful today. The moon is so big and glaring. Haha, Brother Feng is right. It was broad daylight and the sun was shining brightly. Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi looked up at the sky and lied through their teeth. They pretended not to see Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing. The few of them bickered all the way back to the inn. News about the test spread like wildfire in the capital of the Cloud Wilderness Empire. Jin Fengyun was powerful and invincible. Naturally, it attracted many people's attention. Besides, Lu Ming, Qiu Changkong, and Xian Yinqing were also mentioned repeatedly. The 3 of them came from the same empire, the Blazing Sun Empire. It was a small country. There were so many terrifying geniuses in the Blazing Sun Empire. 2 of them even made it to the top 10. This was more terrifying than many intermediate empires. The Bloody Zhao Empire did not have anyone in the top 10. 2 days later, on a mountain peak, Qiu Changkong kowtowed to an old man. Master, why are you here? Qiu Changkong said respectfully. This old man was the one who had accepted Qiu Changkong as his in-name disciple. He was a major character of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's eastern branch in the Tianqian region. Changkong, although you were previously ranked 36th on the Emperor Cloud leaderboard, you were proud and arrogant. You have never taken the other geniuses on the Emperor Cloud leaderboard seriously. Through this preliminaries, you should have realized that there is always someone better than you, right? Moreover, this is only the Cloud Emperor mountain range. The Cloud Emperor mountain range is a small place. The geniuses here cannot be compared to those in other regions. It will be very difficult for you to successfully join the Dtion Divine Guards. The old man sighed. Master, please give me some pointers. Qiu Changkong said respectfully. And, this time, I'm here to bring you to the 100 Gods slope to cultivate. I've obtained this quota with great difficulty. You must cherish it. The old man said, 100 Gods slope. Hearing this, Qiu Changkong was elated. The 100 Gods slope was an extremely famous cultivation ground in the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. He had heard of this name long ago, but he was not qualified to enter. This time, his master had actually obtained such a precious spot for him. Changkong thanks master. I'm willing to go through fire and water for master. Cho Changkong bowed again. Let's go. The old man waved his hand. In an instant, the two of them disappeared without a trace. In an inn in the imperial capital of the Cloud Wilderness Empire. Xiao Qing, you're leaving? Where are you going? Lu Ming asked. Just a moment ago, Xian Yinqing had bid farewell to him. Of course, I'm going to find a place to cultivate in seclusion. Fortunately, I'll surpass you in 3 months. All right, I'll see you in Myriad Star City 3 months later. After speaking, Xian Yinqing sized up Lu Ming before turning around and disappearing in an instant. Looking at the direction where Xian Yinqing disappeared, Lu Ming somehow felt reluctant to part with her. Xiao Qing, what level can you reach in 3 months? Lu Ming muttered. Xian Yinqing's identity had always been mysterious. Lu Ming still didn't know where she came from. Her sister, Xian Yinjuan, was also a natural king. Her talent was terrifyingly high. Lu Ming had a feeling that when he saw Xian Yinqing again in 3 months, her cultivation would have a huge improvement. It seems like I have to work harder too. Otherwise, she might really surpass me. Lu Ming smiled. After a while, Lu Ming looked at Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi. Brother Feng, Brother Ling, what are your plans next? Lu Ming asked. We plan to return to the Blazing Sun Empire. Brother Lu, what about you? Feng Wuji asked. I plan to set off for the Myriad Star City. I'll cultivate along the way, Lu Ming said. He had already looked at the map. The Myriad Star City was too far away from the Cloud Emperor mountain range. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, it would take him a month to fly there at full speed. Therefore, Lu Ming decided to cultivate along the way. He treated this journey as a form of training. Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi nodded. Brother Feng, please tell my parents that I'm safe when you return. Lu Ming said. Don't worry, I'll definitely tell them. Feng Wuji nodded. Then, Feng Wuji, Ling Yanqi, and Lu Ming left for the Blazing Sun Empire. All of a sudden, Lu Ming was left alone. It's time for me to leave too. Lu Ming smiled and left the capital of the Cloud Wilderness Empire. He soared into the sky and flew toward the west, disappearing into the horizon in an instant. The Cloud Emperor mountain range was located in the easternmost part of the Tianqian domain. It was extremely far away from the Myriad Star City, and there were many regions along the way. Previously, when he was traveling from the Scorching Sun Empire to the capital of the Cloud Wilderness Empire, Lu Ming did not unleash his full speed because of Feng Wuji and Ling Yanqi. Now that he was alone, he unleashed his full speed, and his speed was astonishing. Countless mountains, rivers, and plateaus flashed under Lu Ming's feet. In just 3 days, Lu Ming had left the Cloud Emperor mountain range and entered another region, Xinjiang Water Region. The Xinjiang Water Region was a region close to the Cloud Emperor mountain range. It was several times bigger than the Cloud Emperor mountain range. It was extremely vast, and there were hundreds of empires with countless people. Among them, the strongest empire was the Xinjiang Empire. It was a high-level empire and was extremely powerful. Jin Fengyun had trained in the Xinjiang Water Region. The terrain of the Xinjiang Water Region was completely different from the Cloud Emperor mountain range. The Cloud Emperor mountain range had many large peaks and steep terrain. As for the Thousand Rivers Water Region, the terrain was flat and the rivers flowed rapidly. On the vast land, there were countless large rivers. Lu Ming was above a large river, and he was dumbfounded. The reason for that was because the river was simply too wide. Looking down from 10,000 meters above, the river was at least 100 miles wide. If it were not for Lu Ming's amazing eyesight, he would not have been able to see the end. As for the length, it was impossible to estimate. On the river, there were many large ships sailing on the water. It is indeed unique. Looking at the endless river, Lu Ming felt his mind open, and he was in a good mood. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.